Hello everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I tell you, I was sitting right there in my favorite chair last night, cup of coffee in hand when General Hospital threw me another curveball that got my heart racing a little. You know how it is with these shows. 1 minute everything feels steady, and the next, boom, they pull the rug right out from under you. I've been following Nina Reeves for years, and let me tell you, Cynthia Watros plays her so real it feels like watching somebody you actually know. In that episode on the 11th, something Nathan said made Nina start connecting the dots about who he really is. The poor guy tried to brush it off, blaming it on that head injury from the truck accident when he first rolled into Port Charles. But I could see it in Nina's eyes, that little spark of suspicion. She's no fool, that one. What really got me chuckling and thinking was how surprised Nathan looked when Nina started being all loving and caring toward him. He even told her he was shocked by how sweet she'd become. Now, I sat there scratching my head because the real Nathan West is still out there alive somewhere, and he knew the old Nina, the one who came to town playing games. Remember how slick she was back then? Pretending she needed that wheelchair way longer than she actually did, stirring up all kinds of trouble, even stealing Ava Jerome's baby Avery right after she was born. That woman had a sharp edge to her, no doubt about it. But this version of Nina, she's changed. She's softer now, more heart, and less schemes. So when this fella calling himself Nathan acts all surprised by her kindness, it just doesn't add up. I reckon that's exactly what Nina's starting to feel in her gut. Cassius, or whatever his real name is, tried real quick to cover his tracks and blame the head injury again, but the damage was done. Nina's wheels are turning, folks. I gotta say, it makes me smile seeing a story like this. It reminds me that people can change, but the past has a way of coming back to test you. I'm sitting here wondering how long Nathan can keep up this act before everything unravels. Man, these soap operas sure know how to keep an old guy like me hooked. The more I thought about what Nina was going through, the more I could feel her mind spinning just like mine would be. She's starting to realize that none of this adds up, right? Not one bit. In a town like Port Charles, she's seen her fair share of folks coming back from the so-called dead Drew Kane, Jason Morgan, even Nicholas Cassadine all walking around again like nothing ever happened. But those stories always had some kind of explaining to them, you know, some twist or reason that made sense after a while, and there weren't any real graves to make it feel so final. This time though, Nathan, that's a whole different kettle of fish, and it's breaking my heart for her. Nina knows he was buried proper. She was right there. Everybody saw him lowered into the ground with their own eyes. You can't just climb out of a coffin after something like that and pretend everything's fine. The poor woman is putting the pieces together piece by piece, and she's feeling that deep down itch in her gut that tells her something is terribly, terribly wrong. It's the kind of realization that keeps you up at night, tossing and turning, wondering how much of your life has been built on lies. What really tugs at my heartstrings is how Nina still doesn't know the full truth. She has no idea that her Aunt Lisa Lobrecht and her cousin Britt Westbourne are already in on the secret about this fella calling himself Nathan. They're carrying around knowledge that could change everything for her, but they're holding it close for now. And as if that heavy burden ain't enough, thanks to her own mother's schemming ways, Nina's been kept apart from her own twins for so many years. One of those babies grew up into Nell Benson, and now that girl is gone too, leaving behind nothing but more heartbreak, regrets, and a whole lot of what-ifs that no mother should ever have to carry. Lord, it makes you sit back, shake your head, and just feel for her. These characters in Port Charles go through more pain and surprises in a week than most of us see in a lifetime. But that's what makes the show so real. It reminds me that life is full of second chances, hidden truths, and people changing right before our eyes. I'm rooting hard for Nina to find her strength and dig deeper. She deserves to know the real story, to finally have some peace after all the losses and deceptions she's endured. Watching her slowly wake up to this mess has me hooked even more than usual. These soap operas sure know how to mirror the ups and downs of real life, don't they? They show us that family ties can be complicated, love can heal old wounds, but the truth, well, the truth always finds its way out eventually. I can't wait to see what happens next, and I bet a lot of you feel the same way. From what I saw, Cassius already found the courage to confess his real identity to his own mother. That must have been one tough conversation, full of shock, tears, and maybe even some anger. But now the bigger question that's been weighing heavy on my mind is this. Will he find the strength and trust to do the same with Nina? She's not just some woman in his life, she's the one he's always carried deep in his heart, like a beloved big sister from those far-off childhood days. That whole part of Nathan's life, the warm and simple memories of growing up with a big sister who looked out for him, shared secrets, laughed at silly things, and stood by him through thick and thin, well, that's something Cassius probably doesn't know much about at all. After all, who's left for him to turn to and ask about those special moments? There's really nobody else who can paint those vivid pictures from the past, the family dinners, the little arguments that ended in hugs, the quiet times when a big sister's love made everything feel safer. The only person who truly holds all those precious memories is Nina herself. Without her, those pieces of Nathan's childhood might stay lost forever. I tell you, it really touches this old heart of mine watching how deeply Cassius has grown attached to Nathan's life and all the people who mattered most to him. He's not just playing a part or wearing the name like a mask. You can see in the way he carries himself that he genuinely cares. He looks at Nina with real affection and respect, like she's the big sister he was always meant to have if life had taken a different road. He's stepping into those shoes day by day, feeling the full weight of the love, the responsibilities, the history, and even the everyday little things that made Nathan who he was. It makes me wonder if that growing bond, that true fondness he feels for her, is exactly what might finally push him to open up and tell her the whole honest truth one day. It wouldn't come easy, secrets this big never do, but the way he acts around her tells me there's something real and warm taking root there. Of course, even if Cassius does decide to confess everything to Nina, I have a strong feeling he might gently ask her to keep that heavy secret safe for a little while longer, especially from her own daughter. Lord knows this family has already been through more pain, loss, and separation than any one group of folks should ever have to bear. Nina's already carrying the deep, quiet sorrow of losing so many precious years with her twins, and the heartbreak of knowing that sweet girl Nell is gone forever now. Dropping another bombshell like this could either start to mend some of those old painful wounds or stir up even more confusion, tears, and heartache all over again. It makes me sit back, shake my head slowly, and let out a long sigh because these stories on General Hospital hit so close to home, don't they? They remind us that real families are messy and complicated, full of secrets kept out of love or fear, regrets that linger for years, love that refuses to fade away, and those rare, beautiful second chances that can change everything if we're brave enough to grab them. I'm rooting hard for Nina to finally get some real honest answers after all the suffering and deceptions she's endured over the years. And deep down, I'm sincerely hoping Cassius finds the courage inside himself to do what feels right in his heart. Whatever comes next in that wild town of Port Charles, my heart's right there with her every step of the way, cheering her on through all the twists, turns, and emotional storms. These characters have become like old friends I've known for years, and I just can't help but care so much about how their stories unfold. It's the kind of show that stays with you long after the screen goes dark. Whether Cassius finds the courage to tell her himself or the truth comes out another way, I'm rooting for her with all my heart. These characters feel like old friends, and watching them struggle and love through all the mess is what keeps me coming back to General Hospital. Life's complicated, but there's always room for healing and second chances. Can't wait to see what happens next.